We are recording.
Woo!
Welcome to Love and Lunch, everyone. The pre-recorded edition doesn't sound very exciting. All right, yeah, so we've given up on live tech for today. That's not the way that this wants to happen, but I think we both have a big desire to make it happen in some format. So yeah, let's do it. Love and Lunch. I'm Joanna Keeble. I'm founder and coach at bigbeautifulboundaries.com. I've got a free Facebook group you can join called Big Beautiful Boundary Builders. And I'm also working on a upcoming workshop with my partner. We're working on a title, but we're going to be workshopping your yes and no. So check me out at bigbeautifulboundaries.com. Sign up there for updates.
That's beautiful. I'm like, I want to know more. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jo Cooper. I am creator of empowering women to ignite their desires. So this is my Facebook group, and I have an Instagram which I'm really excited about, actually, because I got someone to do an audit on it, and I am doing more creative things with my Instagram. So that's more of my blog. So that's jo.cooper.coaching. And so that's my Instagram handle. So I'm a coach. I work with women on identifying their desires, basically what they are, how to ask for them so they can magnetize exactly what they want in a relationship.
Magnetize.
I love the word magnetize. It's just like, ignite, baby.
It's a pretty good word. Yeah, and your Instagram is looking hot.
Thank you. Thank you.
So today we're gonna have a little chat about sort of body love. Something that's come up for us both, right, lately. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I would love to. This is so funny. I think it's the first Love and Lunch. I'm just like, I'm really in this place of like trust and acceptance. And the more that I teach this work, the more I have a deep inner loving wisdom for like what is the actual truth. And so the topic that we came up for, and I think it just speaks to me like all the time, is around like body confidence and how to really feel and love myself for exactly like where I am, how I begin to relate my physical body in certain spaces, and how I just be, because I think personally from like growing up, I think there was a lot of negative talk around, oh, don't wear high heels, it's too sexy, don't wear. And I remember, I'm going to just quickly say something. When I did wear heels, the first time I wore them when I was a teenager, I did fall. But it was, which is an interesting thing. Anyway, that's a story for another time. But I mean, I couldn't wear short skirts. I couldn't wear anything that revealed anything of my figure. And so I was trying to do all these things in a way to be sexy, because there was something around not feeling completely comfortable or trying to express my sexuality in a way that wasn't really accepted. So it was almost like it was a struggle. I was starting to come out and then I got a hit. Starting to come out and then I got a hit. And it was this constant, for me, it was just like a constant battle. It was a constant struggle. And interestingly, and I think just thinking about like, I guess my body over the past couple of years, whenever, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but like you know, when I'm starting to date someone, I'm like, oh my God, before I go on a date with them, I'm going to eat super healthy for a whole week. And then I'm going to feel amazing. And I'm going to get this love. I'm going to get the love and attention I want because I feel great. My body's feeling good. And I was always putting myself under pressure to look and be in a certain way, because I thought if I looked a certain way, then, oh my God, like that's how my love is going to get validated. I'm going to be met in that place. And it's only since I actually went through a breakup in December and started to internalize and do a lot of like self-acceptance and love and really get to know myself without any kind of, without being almost like interrupted by anybody around me. You know, I wasn't getting caught up in the like the fuzz or the noise about what was going on out here. I was so in myself and in this healing process that that's really when I started to love myself, really, really love myself, you know, to the point where I didn't feel like I had to do a certain yoga practice like 6 days a week, because I was always worried that if I didn't do a certain amount of yoga every day, like my normal practice is about an hour and a half, if I didn't do that, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to get fat or I'm going to get some cellulite. And it is the first time where I know, well, I'm not body brushing. You know, I seriously, Han, all of these things to make sure I would never get any cellulite. And in a way, what I have found is like how damaging that thinking state is. It's almost like a black cloud that's basically integrated in my system every single day. And once I was just like, oh, this cloud isn't really serving me anymore. And I said bye-bye to it. And what I did is actually let in a lot more sun, which was like the compassion. And so I feel way more compassionate about myself and just checking in. And what that's had me do is to be like, I've actually become way more conscious about food. Like, I'm not just eating something because I know I can burn it off. I'm actually making way more considered choices and being like, okay, do I really need this? Do I really want it? And if I did want a croissant, I'm going to give myself a croissant. But am I just, the thing that I've noticed is, and this is what I do, especially with chocolate on an evening, am I using this to numb out, or am I having this because I really, really want it? And I think that has been a practice where food and my body has become more conscious, and that conscious and being more present has created a lot more love and acceptance, and I just feel more open. I feel way more open and available and present to be with people in conversation and in life. So it's interesting how I've gone on this whole journey with my body image, but in turn it's made me more available.
Ooh, lovely. So good. So good. God, you've got me thinking about all the ways that we like connect, but it's not really connecting. We're just sort of bumping up against each other and actually numbing each other out and denying each other permission. Yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about this lately as well. And you mentioned I did an Instagram video the other day about how like I've put on weight. Like I've been dieting since I was 14. Not solidly. If it was solid, you know, it'd probably be a different story. But just having a go and then feeling like I'm betraying womanhood, and it just feels like exactly what you've described. You sort of can't get it right. Right? You're too fat or you're too thin, or you know. So there's like slutty heels. You shouldn't wear slutty heels. But if you just wear comfortable shoes, you're clearly a lesbian, and that was a bad word. You know what I mean? So there's a way that it's very, very useful actually to keep people disconnected from their power if you've got them feeling like they're wrong all the time. and that ramps up our shame. It's quite interesting when you feel shamed, how that impacts the way that we show up to ask for what we want, and the way that we show up to take a stand or have an impact. Because you feel like, but maybe I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm a failure, and you're carrying that around. That has an impact. So, and I love what you're talking about, like eating out of love and not fear. And for me, that's a big deal, because I cannot promise that I will never have Monster Munch again, even though it's evil. And so my way of doing it is to make sure that if I do make that choice to eat that food, that I let myself receive it as love, that I let myself enjoy it, that I use it as an opportunity for a bit of forgiveness or a bit of play. And when you take that pressure off, and then you can have that croissant when you want it, and just really let yourself have a bit of space. It's sort of, the obsession dies down, right? I've just finished recording Desire for my course. I think it's the 4th module. And I was talking about how, like, actually leaning into it and going for the thing that you want and letting yourself have it can often take away a lot of the anxiety around it, and a lot of the like intensity of like, oh my God, I mustn't have this thing, and you can spend your whole life obsessing on it,
which is attached
with food.
Yeah, which is attached to the word shame that you used before.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's like shame on your desire. I'm wrong for wanting this.
Shame on your plate.
Yeah. Shame on your pleasure.
I'm gonna eat a plate of shame today. Just stop everyone.
Right? Yeah. So what else have I written down? Yeah, we weren't just told to hide our bodies, we were also told to show them. And so as a PA, as a curvy PA, it's really hard for me to dress in a way that people say is professional. There's so many outfits that are comfortable, but then they're not like form-fitting. And if it's not form-fitting, it's not professional. And if you have a more curvaceous body, good luck with getting all the form-fitting clothes. Like, the amount of time and money you're going to spend trying to achieve that without cutting off your circulation anywhere.
When you say form-fitting, what do you mean? So
this is too baggy. It would need
so you need something to actually fit your figure. Okay.
It needs to fit your outline. So for women, for men, it's not quite as much. You can have a bit more space in your clothes. But for women in the office, I'm supposed to wear a suit that fits, and I can't have it be a bit bigger or a bit smaller. And women's weight, I say women, right? Women's weight goes up and down a lot more than, you know, typical man's body. Maybe I should say male and female, not sure, haven't got this bit sorted out. So I had a client who rejected her body. She hated on her body. She was like enraged at her body, and she was just like, I'm brilliant and I'm incredible, and this body is slowing me down. It was so aggressive. And it's just like, okay, but that's your tool. That's your aid to get you whatever it is you want. That's just here to help us in this physical world. And if you reject it, you know, how's that working out for you? Well, you've got to use the tool that you've got. And when we dismiss it and when we make it wrong, then we get to feel wrong and we get to feel disempowered. And I want to say one more thing that you said. I've written down something. You're talking about like being miseducated and being taught to feel shame or to hate our bodies and to stress about our weight. And that's something that I said in that video actually about my body love, which is it's not that we need to learn to love ourselves. It's that we're all working really hard to unlearn to not love ourselves. Like, this wasn't our starting point. We were given societal bullshit, you know, so we've got to just peel back some of the stuff that people gave us that we accepted because we were kids, we were teenagers, we were insecure, and we need to go, wait a minute, that's not mine, you can have that back, that's not mine, and just take the stress off and have a bit more approval for ourselves. Yeah. So I'm gonna tail off with this. I put on weight, and I found myself a couple of weeks ago standing in front of my mirror naked eating a frankfurter. or a sausage. And I was just like, what a picture. And I'm looking at my
picture. No, do you have that?
I'll do you one. But
I'd love one.
But I was just looking at my body and just looking at the bigger curves. Right? No high heels.
Like pouncing in front of the mirror when you found
I was loving it. I was like, this is awesome. So it's delicious. I'm nourishing myself. I'm having protein. I like protein. It feels good. My body loves it. And I'm enjoying my skin and I'm looking at my curves and I'm not wearing any high heels. I don't have a corset. I'm not worried about anything. And it just kind of, I had this wave of joy, sort of euphoric, like, hang on, I don't hate this in any way. This actually feels better possibly than I have ever before. So it's not about an external change. I didn't like make it fit. I stopped making myself fit and I just started feeling good. I just let myself feel. I started feeling me a lot more and paying attention to what feels good.
One question I've got for you, which I think is really beautiful, is when you said I stopped making myself fit.
I meant fit in a box.
But obviously, I mean, for me, I understood that as like, I don't need to make myself somehow fit in what society think I should, it's like
none of us fit, by the way.
A glove and we're like, okay, let's be the glove and like fit in, because we get told that if we look this way, we're going to have the partner that we want, we're going to be lovable, we're going to be accepted, we're going to be desirable, and then actually how damaging that is for women. And that's why one of my biggest journeys has had to be around this thing around thinking that my sex was my power, because I got taught that, if you make yourself really desirable, then that's super powerful. Like that has been the one thing that has actually been my whole entire journey of like undoing that belief. And I am glad to say at a point now where I don't do that, but it's been a long journey. But it's something, even when I was still in the midst of coaching, doing the course, like there was still parts of me that was getting tantalized by this belief. And it's just only through like brutal honesty, am I able to love the feminine and not actually reject her and pimp her out, because that's what was going on, and it's just really been a journey of like loving my masculine, loving the feminine. I don't want to talk too much about the dynamics there because I know that it could feel a bit waffly for some people, but basically we all have feminine and masculine energies, and for me it's really been coming and having a love harmoniously between them. It's almost like the yin and the yang, and being the globe on the outside and like hugging them both.
All right, integration, inclusion.
Exactly.
I like that, because it's like we're talking a lot about rejecting or accepting parts of ourselves. Should I accept this part of myself? Yes. If you just said it's part of you, you don't have to let it drive the car. But yes, you want to include all the pieces of you. Now, technically speaking, we have 3 minutes left.
I was going to say how many minutes, because we're doing a pre-recorded, so we have...
Well, I'm going to say let's go to 25 and throw all the rules out the window or something like that.
Okay.
And however long we go, we'll put that on the video.
Okay, because I'm quite keen to answer someone's question who has... this lady is going to be kept anonymous, so I am going to just read parts. So this lady has had a long period of COVID.
I want to say she has a condition called long COVID.
Okay,
which is because I've been reading about this, because I'm in some like different groups about chronic conditions. And so some people are having some after effects from COVID that are a lot like what I have, which is chronic fatigue or ME.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what she's saying.
Yeah, perfect. I'm so glad you corrected me. Thank you for that. And she's also reached menopause. So she's in a place where her body has began to put on weight. She's not currently that active. She says that she's been really gentle and loving to herself. And she started to self-pleasure again, but she's not feeling much in her pussy. So she's not feeling a lot of sensation there. And so that's one thing really about not having some sensation in her genitals. But her question is how to cultivate acceptance for where she is right now and be gentle and loving through being in this period of long COVID and also having menopause. So there's something around having a desire to feel the turn on, to feel her pussy, and also have more acceptance and love for herself that her body is starting to change shape because she's unable to be as active as she was earlier. Probably last year I probably would have guessed. Yeah, I actually just want to send a lot of love out to this woman first of all, and to say thank you so much for reaching out and being so honest and vulnerable and being willing to share this. I mean, it's powerful, you know, vulnerability is deeply powerful, and speaking about these subjects in connection with other women, I'm just like, yeah, it makes me feel quite teary actually, because it's just knowing that we can support one another wherever we're at. And I am really glad that she sent me this message. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you first of all for sending this message to me. And I'm going to answer this a little bit and then I'm going to pass it to you, Joanna. The thing around the pussy and feeling more in your pussy, I mean, to just answer it in more basic terms, and we can have a conversation about this later, but if you could take the expectation off of where you were before and just notice that, you know, anything like an illness or a disease, a dis-ease in the body is going to create some discomfort. And it's almost like if you use the analogy which Nicole did around when we need to start to unthaw again. It's almost like it's gone through a whole period or a whole cycle of lots of many different changes in the body, like the menopause. And, you know, it sounds from what you shared like, you know, something feels like it's frozen or it's stuck. And when we're in our head thinking, well, I know I used to feel more pleasure in my pussy, what's going on? Then that, first of all, that signal of the expectation is something where we can go into a place of feeling quite, you know, in a place of contraction. And so it just a simple tool of being, you know, when you touch yourself, when you start to self-pleasure and actually start to send signals to your pussy like, I love you, you know, like even just simple phrases or affirmations. Maybe it'll be a different affirmation each day. And I would say with pleasure, increase it slowly. And the more you slow down in life and experience pleasure in many different ways, like with eating beautiful food or when you go for a walk outside, can you be really aware of like the sounds and the air like brushing across your face And when you feel, so for example, you go on a walk and you feel the air brushing against your face, if you then put your awareness, so you're going to think of your third eye as your clitoris at this point, if you bring your awareness into your pussy as you feel that, how can you start to bring more connection as you're feeling? And so that's one thing that I would definitely like to invite you to feel, and invite you. And yeah, I think that's the first thing. And then the second one is almost having a knowing. So I think this comes back to, like, you know, what I said in the beginning of this talk is like my body shape has changed slightly. I'm not as turned as what I was. And there's an acceptance that I know that I can change it later on. It's like, for today, can I just be okay and know that I can do something later on about it? And it's almost like taking the pressure off and bringing your awareness and you back into the present moment and just living today as it is. And I think that brings a different level of self-acceptance, where we're not putting an expectation on ourselves to be or look a certain way, and just being like, this is how I am for today, and having more nourishing things. So yeah, I think that's how I would answer that.
That's beautiful. Like accepting today. Accepting today is so key. So I have tinnitus. When I first got tinnitus, I was ill, and I had I thought, oh, I've got an ear infection and that's why my ears are ringing. And then a couple of days later it was still there, and I was like, this is really boring now. And then a week later I was saying, no, this has to end. I've got to get better. And a couple of weeks later I was just enraged, and I was just despairing, and I was trying to find doctors who would give me an appointment. I was like, we have to fix this, we have to change this, I cannot live like this. I do live like this. There's nothing that's been as distressing as that beginning bit when I was stamping my feet and saying, no, 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 this cannot be my reality. This cannot be my reality. I'm a singer, right? I'm passionate about music. I'm never going to hear music in the same way. Like, you know, you can see the emotion there. Just remembering my despair in that moment, it was such high distress. And now, like, it's so different. I just want you to know it can be so, so different. I'm like, I still have an awareness that I might be going deaf, right? And that I've lost some clarity of sound. And I still have this little sound, actually, when I tune into it, it's still there, it's ringing, right? But the distress is not there. In my everyday life, I feel joyful, and I feel grateful, and I feel present. And I don't feel like, oh, it would be better if that wasn't there. I have chronic fatigue. I reached complete burnout, and I've done a lot of work on that. And in the beginning, I couldn't move. Right at the beginning, I couldn't get out of bed. And it was, I don't know how long it was. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks, but I genuinely don't know. I lost track of time. I wasn't resting. I was sleeping, but not resting. And, again, I just didn't know how to live. Firstly, it changed a little. Secondly, I had to get tuned into it. I had to reassess my relationship with my body, and I had to become a lot more willing to listen to my body. I've written down, where do we go from here? And the key about that is that you are where you are. And whatever we want, we've got to look at what's available right now. And it's beautiful what Jo was saying about getting on board with today. I appreciate that, like, yeah, Jo, like you can go back to yoga and you might tone up again, and this woman might be feeling like she's never going to go back. Well, there is no back. It's never actually back. It's never going to feel exactly the same. right? You're always
Mm.
moving forwards. And I just want to tell you, because I know we're low on time, about this book, Passages.
Ooh.
Yeah, Gail Sheehy, I think her name is. Gail Sheehy. She says that she would have liked to call it crises, like crises of adult life, but we have such trauma around that word. We have such baggage around that word. Passages. So it's about what's the subline? It's like oh yeah, here we go. Brilliant new insights on the predictable crises of adult life. We know so much about like the childhood crises, right? Like the terrible twos, or like, you know, turning 13, becoming a teenager and becoming all, but we don't talk enough about what we go through as adults. And this is a revelation, especially for women, especially if you're like hitting your 50s. Passages, you can get it secondhand on Amazon. That's what I want to say there. And yeah, I think we've said it all. The main question is, how can I love myself here? And that's a universal question. It's like, oh honey, just get cracking, just get started. You have permission. You have to.
Shall I tell you one thing that's actually really helped me recently? What brought me to tears actually in my meditation was practicing the Metta Bhavana meditations around love and compassion. And it's really shifted a lot for me actually, with just awareness, but not thinking of awareness just here, actually feeling myself in the universe as well. And that's been that's been quite transformational. So yeah, I think we have come to the end of Love and Lunch. It's been super intimate, just Joanna and I.
Right. It's been quite long, so we've gone for like a bumper edition, which we never do. We never do that.
Yeah, I know. I think I don't even know what time we started, so
I think we've done half an hour, so
okay,
with lots of love. So what should we say? So I'll just say come sign up for updates about my upcoming workshop on consent and desire and relationships. Sign up at bigbeautifulboundaries.com. There's just a bar at top where you can click to sign up for updates.
Beautiful. Yeah, so my Facebook group I'll put below. It's just for women only, empowering women to ignite their desires. On the 8th of November, I'm going to be hosting a masterclass on the Melt Experience around how to attract everything you want within relationship. Whether you're single or in relationship, you're going to love it. So yeah, I'd love you to all come to my masterclass. It's going to be really exciting. I'm so turned on about it. So yeah, and check out my Instagram. It's going to be full of new beautiful things. Pink and red is my colors right now, so that makes me even more excited. Your colors, the colors that Joanna's wearing. But yeah, okay, so I'll put my Facebook group below. Joanna will put Big Beautiful Boundaries below when we post this video. And cool. Yeah, we're sending you so much love. We may have more to talk about on this topic next week. But
I think so, yeah. I want to say more about how to love yourself specifically.
Yeah, I mean, these just keep on flowing and rolling, and yeah, really beautiful topics. So
cool.
We will see you later, lovely.
Big love.